Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, people. How are you all doing? Welcome, Dan, to a very happy Monday for you,
A
isn't it?
beautiful Monday, Anthony.
Okay,
All's well in the world. We're both
okay,
cup winners. Come
okay.
on, Anthony. There's nothing for you to be upset about.
I'm happy as a club. I'll put it
Yes,
that way. I'm happy as a
yes,
club.
yeah.
Uh,
We'll definitely move on to that towards the end of the show because there's so much to talk about, isn't there? That's
that is a
big
lot to
weekend of
talk.
football anyway. So let's
A
wow.
lot a lot to talk about today, and yeah, so as always, people, like, comment, subscribe, everything is welcome. We have no echo chambers over here. Any sort of comment, outrageous, sensible, or not even relevant, is also welcome, to be honest. Yep, if you also want to call in and have your say, just let us know in the comments, and yeah, we will definitely share the link, and you can come on and
Yeah,
say what you like to say about it as well. So I would think the best place to start off this is with the Premier League results. This
North London's where we need to start. That's where we need to be, Anthony.
yeah. So we start off with the Tottenham Hotspur and the Burnley game. Bloody hell, we got what we wanted, to be honest, but
Yeah, I mean they did exactly what Tottenham love to do, don't they? This is the
yes.
same team who can score one goal against Liverpool,
Mm,
put in an incredible performance, you
mm.
know, um, fighting for their lives to get this point. They now come up against Burnley, who have been in a decent run of form. However, form isn't constant, class is, and unfortunately, Burnley don't have that level of class.
Yeah.
They have come to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Spurs buoyed by a big win in the North London derby. 3-0. Goals coming from the players who you want them scoring goals. And they got a 1-0 penalty, which was absolutely a
That's
penalty,
a
I'm afraid, Arsenal
stonewall
fan.
penalty, by the way. Yeah.
I'm sorry, it gobsmacked me some of the things that were coming out on social media. How is that a penalty? Oh, the new rules. People are saying, oh, it's the new rule. What do you mean the new rules? It's game day 37. It's not a new rule. It's been here for all year. You
And
can't
also
have your arm
handballs.
out in the box. It's it. Just
Ha-
leave it.
handballs have been given for less as well, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. They've been given for less. It's a madness that they did what he did, that your arms are up like that. But he's a striker. This is Ashley Barnes. He's not a defender. He's not someone who's going to be sitting there.
Exactly.
And it shows as to why they are where they are. It's defensive mistakes, it's errors, and it leads you to be towards the bottom of the league. And a brilliant result for Spurs. The pressure has been cranked up to 11 for Arsenal for tonight. Massive pressure.
It
Huge
is
pressure.
it is a crunch game, isn't it? Like what this result actually gives is that the top four race is going to be decided on the final day. Like there is
Yes.
no doubt about it now. You
And
know.
there's no favours. There's no favours coming for Arsenal from Norwich. I'm afraid they have to win both games.
Yeah.
It's done.
Unless Arsenal actually bottle it tonight.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, that's probably a great opportunity to kind of just touch on that one before we kind of move on to it. But they're coming up against a Newcastle side, which I don't rate. I don't
Mm,
rate them. I'll use the same energy as just used Burnley. They're on a brilliant. They were, I'll say,
mm.
were on a brilliant vein of form. However, they're currently seeing the losses that they were. We saw them against City last week. They had probably one of the lowest percentages in Premier League history. At one point, had 1% possession in the second half.
Yeah.
It's there's no excuse to that. That's pathetic. That's just pathetic.
Absolutely.
1% against Man City. The Man City, they're not. Newcastle are a Premier League football club with elite level footballers in it.
Mm.
But for some reason, it's okay. It's Man City. So Newcastle, last game at home at St James's Park, couple of bad results. They'll want to end the season on a high.
Hmm.
History's in Arsenal's favour. They haven't lost there since 2015, 2016, I believe it is. The last, yeah, it's never ended in a draw in those years. So it could go one way or the other. And the injuries and the suspensions that have hit Arsenal, it's a worry. It's a genuine worry because I think we could see our first draw. I think we could see our first draw in a long time.
It is a massive risk, isn't it, going on to this this game? Because if there is actually a draw, it's gonna make things a lot more interesting, a
Yes,
lot more interesting.
well, absolutely. Everton's result yesterday, which I'd say we've moved to that, it massively affects the game that they could have been facing on the last game of the season. There's been numerous well-known, how we say, handshake agreements where if neither team needs to win the match to achieve its own goals, it's regularly been a draw. It's regularly multiple times. It's been 0-0, boring, pass it around your defence, pass it around your midfield, play a long ball, and then they do the same, and then
Huh?
pass it on the other end. They can't do that now. Everton losing 3-2 will matter more when they play Palace. If they lose to Palace this week or draw, Everton still need to go out there and get a job done because it isn't secure yet. So who knows? I think tonight's match for Arsenal, Arsenal's got two very, very big games. This is a massive match. They have to win. Absolutely have to win this match. It's a risk if he does play someone like Gabriel. It will
Yeah,
be a risk if he plays Ben White. They're not fit.
Gabriel cannot play. By the way, he's injured. He pulled his hamstrings in that
But has
Tottenham
that
game.
been fully announced now, has it? I've been trying to check to see whether or not they've announced, he is injured for the game. And it wasn't updated, but like when you take a seat on the pitch but holding the back of your thigh, it's not a little
It's not
twinge.
good.
No, it's done. It's not going to be a positive, and it's a risk that if you do play him and then he does do his hamstring fully, then he's not available for the last game or the game that you've just played him in. It's two
Ex-
matches potentially that you're
exactly.
losing for. So again, this is where we were saying it might be Arsenal's inability to sign players because it's one or the other. They either chose to not sign any players because they felt they didn't need them, or it was based on their their pig-headedness to not
Hmm.
sign any players.
I
To go,
think
no,
it's
we
more or
have a
less
good
the
enough team
big-headedness.
to achieve our goals, and when you have Champions League in your hand, Europa League ain't good enough. It's
Yeah,
not good enough.
exactly right. Exactly right. And that's what I was thinking to myself as well. Like, it is still in their hands, and they need to do something about it at the end of the day. Like make at the end of the day, you are going up against Antonio Conte, who knows how to, win leagues, make teams competitive. You've seen
Yeah.
them do that all the time as well. And yeah, it's gonna be a crunch game tonight for Arsenal. Massive, massive pressure on it. We can see whether they're gonna capitulate or not as well, and go from there. To be honest, so the next game was Everton versus Brentford, whereas Brentford is safe, but Everton is not, even though they're 16th in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's a real strange one because I got called out a little bit yesterday on our Discord because I said about how I felt that, I didn't think Lampard was the right man for the job.
No,
And he's,
he's
and
done
he's
quite
not.
well.
But
he's,
he's
he's
not. You
he's
say
not the
he's
right
done
man.
quite well. And he hasn't done well, Anthony. He's not,
Yeah,
mate. He hasn't. The results have gone the right way for them. Manchester United should never be losing to Everton. As bad as their season has been this season, they were awful in that game. Woeful. From
yeah.
point one to point B. Chelsea turned up to play when they needed a win, when they needed some form of, you know, a boost. Oh, look, boys, listen, we're getting it together. Nope. 1-0. lost to a team who is fighting for their life in relegation, who has been so poor. I had them down to lose both of those games. Without those 6 points, they are adrift. They are adrift and probably gone, to be honest. Um, somehow, the big six clubs have dug them out, but they're not out of the pit quite yet. There's a couple of big games this week. They play Palace. Palace have beat them twice this season already.
Yes.
FA Cup and in the Premier League. It's going to be a very interesting result. If that game ends being a Palace win, maybe 1, maybe 2-0, something like that, that game at Arsenal is going to be huge. It's going to be a massive game. They'll have everything to play for. Leeds play Brentford. Now, don't call me a conspiracy theorist, but the Brentford players made a very big point of them trying to be woken up with fireworks and some of the dark arts that were being done. I wonder how tired Brentford might be against Leeds, by the way. You know, maybe they might not be on it that day. Who knows? Maybe the sleep they didn't get at the weekends means they don't play so well and put a bit of pressure on Everton. Who knows? Leeds might get a 1-0.
They
Who
fucking
knows?
did the same thing to us.
Yeah, that's it. So,
and we lost.
Who's to say that Brentford go, do you know what, boys? I don't feel it, you know. I can see a 1-0 Leeds just for that last game of the season pressure. Ultimately, Leeds have to win. Let's say it as it is. Leeds has to win that match. A draw won't be enough. They have everything to play for. They can't afford a draw. They can't afford a loss.
Yeah, because Leeds are at 35 points. The maximum they can get is either 36 or 38.
Yeah.
Right? Or remain at 35. So if they do get 36, for an example, which means that they are level on points with Everton. However, the goal difference
is enormous.
So minus 38 to 20. So Everton, I believe, is actually safe in the Premier League. Unless
if Everton lose to Crystal Palace and then Everton lose to Arsenal,
and they have another game, isn't it? Everton, Arsenal, and Crystal Palace. So they have to either draw both games or win one of them.
Yeah, and that's it. They have to either draw or win one.
They had to draw both or win one. Yeah.
Neither of those games are gimmies. Crystal Palace is their best chance of a win. Absolutely their best chance of a win.
And Crystal Palace are no mugs as well at the same time.
And Crystal Palace has beaten them twice this season already.
Yeah.
They're going into that match with 2 less players available to them. Losing Jared Braithwaite as another centre-back is not good. They're struggling for fitness in the centre-back positions as it is. You're going to have some great attacking players, Eze, Mateta, Zaha. They're going to cause problems for
Conor Gallagher as well.
Conor Gallagher, this is, probably his second to last game at Crystal Palace. They love him to pieces.
To do something good for Crystal Palace as well.
And he'll also want to put himself in the shop window for Thomas Tuchel as well. That he will be asking to be a first choice starting player for Chelsea. He's had the taste of playing 30 odd games a season for Palace. He wants to drink some more of that. He won't want to be leaving that.
You know what? Then we could have used a player like Conor Gallagher this season, played 30 odd games in the season.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Someone with that hunger and the energy, It's easy in hindsight to say it, isn't it? But yeah, you could have done with someone like that on the bench, definitely, or even just being involved in a rotational part of the first team. So
100%.
It's going to be big. I think tonight's game's huge. Arsenal versus Newcastle versus Arsenal. Last game of the season for Eddie Howe. Try and stop a little bit of the rot that's gone on there. You don't ever really want to finish. You don't want to lose last game of the season in front of your home crowd. That's never a good thing. Takes a bit of the shine off again. everyone made a big deal out of the fact that he's been put forward as the Premier League Manager of the Year nominee. I don't agree at all. No manager in world football has ever had that much money spent at that point for a team that was in a relegation zone. There's an asterisk there, I'm afraid. I don't think he's a good enough manager. He didn't perform with Bournemouth. He won't perform with these guys, I'm afraid. He plays
right
nice football, but
now,
he's not clever enough.
like
Nice
for
football,
right
not
for right now, I think he's okay with Newcastle, but in the long run, he is not the guy.
No, not at all. And he's proven that he's not the guy because of some of the results that he's had.
Mm.
You won't take your team further up the table. They're now, where are they? Still bottom half of the table.
They are actually 10th or 11th, 14th.
So they're 14th. And how many points are they away from where the relegation zone was? Just out of interest.
I am not sure. So the relegation is Burnley is 34, which is actually like 11 points. Uh, but they are like pretty much 3 points away from being like 11th as well. Like if
Yeah.
Newcastle win their next game, they straight away go into uh like 13th. Ah no, they still they have a chance to go into 12th or stay at 14 because
It,
Brentford is at 46, Crystal Palace 45, but Brentford 46 with a game played more than
and without
Newcastle.
being, I think without being rude, but Newcastle probably would have finished there anyway.
Yeah. Not
If
under
it
Steve
wasn't, they
Bruce
weren't.
with just a
They didn't
different
have a
manager.
horrendous team. They just weren't very good. The manager wasn't right. It was quite a toxic atmosphere. But
Mm.
to finish halfway up the bottom half of the table, it's probably okay. It's probably
It
where
is.
they should be. There's no overachievement there. They've just finished where they should be, really.
Yeah.
Next season, we will see.
Yep.
Transfer wise, if they'll move up. Leicester beating Watford.
Yep. I didn't want to cover the City and West Ham game. I just want to leave it till the end.
Yes,
But
that's the big one. Yeah, but no, Leicester,
uh,
Watford, no surprises.
no
Watford,
surprises.
Lord alive. If this is how you're going to be in a Premier League
Better
season,
not come, isn't
there's
it?
no point coming up. There
Yep.
genuinely isn't any reason to come up. If they've not won once since they beat Man United 4-1 at home, that's scandalous.
More than scandalous. It just goes to show how shit
You
Manchester
think of the
United are.
teams that Watford have played at home, where you should be trying to get some points. You
Oh,
look at those teams.
Twisted is over here being a bit salty. Connor will not be going back home. Welcome to Selhurst Park.
You
We'll
know,
see.
it's all about what's on offer for him, because, as I've said, he's a player who's tasted the feeling of being a first choice player in a football team. He's playing under a great manager. They're playing a nice, attractive brand of football. He's loved by those fans.
Mm.
He's loved by the club. He's respected by the players. I don't think he'll want to go to Chelsea to play a bit part. That's my opinion. I think that Tuchel will have to manage him properly in the time between August and the international break for the
Mm.
World Cup, because he will want to be in that England team.
Mm. I
And if
would
he ain't
I would
playing,
assume so.
he ain't going.
Yep. And the thing is, even like at the end of the day, he ain't going or whatever happens, he is still on loan from Chelsea. In order somebody wanting to buy him, they're
Yeah.
gonna pay. They have to pay quite a bit of money as well because he has performed simply. So
It's the valuation of him, really, though. That's the question, isn't it?
it just
Like,
simply his stocks just simply went up. There is
yeah.
no other way of looking at it, to be honest.
And that's it. And it's that guilt, that double-edged sword, isn't it? That we went from him going to the club, Crystal Palace. He's had a great season, but it's also worked against them because he's
Yeah.
also going to cost a fortune.
Yeah. And Brighton and versus Leeds is nothing much to talk about in that game, to be
It's a
honest. It's
good
just
point for them, I'll be honest. For
that's it.
Leeds, it's a good
It's only
point.
a good point.
92nd minute equaliser. It showed some mentality. They'll have
Mm.
some belief now.
I really like
Um,
Jesse Marsh, to be honest.
do you know? I'd love to. I believe if Jesse Marsh had Leeds at the start of the season,
They would
I
be
think they'd
better
be
off.
fine. I think they'd be fine. The injuries have ravaged Leeds. Like that's one
And
side,
the bloody red cards and the
and
yellow
I
cards.
was, and that's the one when we watched this game together against the Chelsea match, we mentioned this, didn't we?
Hmm.
They have got that they have earned their title of dirty Leeds. They've earned the title. They
Almost broke Kovacic's leg.
hold the crown of dirty Leeds, I'm afraid, because it was stupidity. Dan James putting his team in this position. You're our only fit striker,
Hmm.
our only man down the front. Oh, by the way, could you do us a favour and get sent off for the rest of the season?
Yeah,
Because
and
that'll
try to
help
break
us.
Kovacic's leg
Yeah,
along the way.
putting a tackle in that could have ended Kovacic's season, not just this one, but next season as well.
Yeah.
You know, it was a scandalous tackle. There's aggression. And this is where Jurgen Klopp says things like this. He says he has absolutely every right for things to be aggressive, but he says, when we go in for tackles, you hurt yourself, not the other player.
Yep.
When you play a tackle, you go to hurt you, not them. There is no reason for that to have happened. And I'm glad that Kovacic was available. I'm glad that he wasn't too badly hurt
Too
because
bad.
he's had such bad luck with that ankle,
Yes.
and he's a great player.
Oh,
We'll go on to that in the FA Cup final, but he's a top player for you.
top
Your
player.
best midfielder by a country
I think
mile.
so. This
Um,
year, he's our best midfielder.
yeah,
And
he's quality player.
also to add on to your point of the title of getting like being dirty Leeds, right? Kovacic comes off injured
Yeah.
by Dan James, and the Leeds fans are just going off at Kovacic. What is he gonna do?
You see, there's it's a funny. It's just displaced displeasure. That's what it is.
I
Is that
don't get it.
if you're frustrated with your team's performances, the only thing you need to do is look at your own team. That I
Exactly.
think I think there's a lot of within their fan base from what I'm listening to is no one was willing to accept that Bielsa wasn't the right manager,
Yeah, I don't
and
think
it's
they can
hard.
accept it, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's hard to accept. He's the manager who's took you from going on 20 years of League One Championship football to take you back to the promised land, to take Leeds back to the top flight of football. They
Mm,
had a good first season,
mm.
but second season syndrome is real, ladies and gentlemen. It's real. Brentford next season, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, yes.
Genuinely, it will be tough. The mentality needs to stay there. You have to
Mhm.
go. We have not reached this summit. That you're filled with energy. The fans are filled with energy. Everyone's up for it. You go to the games. We looked at Brentford at the start of the season. Their ground was jumping. 20
Oh,
odd
yeah.
thousand seater stadium. It might as well have been 200,000. The noise was wonderful. I
They came with
always
the
say that
fire as well, isn't it? The first
yeah,
match, Arsenal beating Arsenal or something.
yeah, I think they won 3-2, didn't they?
3-2, yeah.
Um, first game of the season, but the noise was unreal.
Unreal.
But what you have to do is keep going back to that well, and next season you start again.
Mm,
It all starts again, and recruitment is key. And this is where Leeds have fallen down. Their
mhm.
recruitment has been horrendous. They've not signed
Exactly.
anybody. They kept the same team, which has got Calvin Phillips, Rafinha, Rodrigo, and
And probably Rafinha and Calvin Phillips might be gone in the summer as well.
well, Rafinha is Gonski. He's got a release clause of only £20 million. He's
25, yeah,
adamant.
apparently if he
20,
goes if they
25
go.
million. Barcelona are apparently in quite deep negotiations
I wish
for
Chelsea
him.
go for him as well. Like I would absolutely love Rafinha. He's much better than every single bloody attack we have. And 25 million, even though we are going through one of those weird situations, 25 million is a risk worth taking for an
If
attacker.
the wages are right, 25 million is nothing. If the
Is
wages are
nothing.
right, say 80, 90,000 a week, 75,000 a week. He hasn't got a lot to really argue because he's come from where he has. He's not really achieved anything. But 25 million, 70, 75,000 a week, I'd want him at Liverpool.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
quite happily have him as a rotational option. We're going to get 5 subs next season. That's going to be
yeah,
a big change. I think
big change as well.
fans need to get this in their mind that the 5 substitutes will change football forever. The
Forever.
Premier League will be different with
Yeah.
the
Players
first
will
game.
players will be a lot more fresher. Players will get game time. You know,
Yes. Oh,
Uh,
the
5 subs
first
out of
game.
11. That means it will be almost a new team
Yeah,
as well.
the starting 11, the best 11 will no longer be the best 11. The best 11 will be the best 13
Yep.
because some teams will be using players to influence matches at certain
Yep.
points in games. It
Or,
will become
or the
tactical.
best 16.
Yes, massively. It will become totally tactical. And I think fans need to realise how that's going to change football for the first goal scored by a 4th substitute or a 5th substitute to win a game will be massive news in this country.
Yeah,
It
it will
will
be
upset
remembered as
fan
well.
bases. It will upset fan bases. It will go, oh, but in the past they wouldn't have been able to bring on Firmino. They wouldn't have been able to bring on Jota. But it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. It
Yeah,
is
and
coming.
and also then I want to add, like at the end of the day, they have to take this decision because there is so many games being played at the moment. There is so many games going on, and so many that the players are being knackered. You saw that in the FA Cup final, right? You seen two teams that has played 60 plus games who couldn't go on.
Where was the quality? I mean, again, again, it all links in, doesn't it? But like, we'll just at the end, we'll go at the FA Cup because there's so much to talk about. The quality is not there. People were moaning and whinging. Oh, it's not a great FA Cup final. Well, what do you expect?
What do you
These teams
expect?
have played 61 and 60 games comparatively.
Yeah,
Liverpool this season will go on to play exactly the same number as Chelsea.
yeah, because
Two
of the
teams that have done
additional final. Yeah,
126 football matches in one season.
it's a
Oh, but you want the
madness.
standard to stay high?
It's a
How?
madness.
We see Mo Salah going down. Jurgen Klopp has come out there. Pardon me. Twisted Devon, I'll come on site in a second. The Mo Salah going down under instruction. If he felt anything, go down.
Yeah,
Virgil
I
van
would
Dijk
say so as
under
well.
instruction. Don't play.
Yeah,
Don't stop playing. I don't
this
want to risk you. I'm not going to risk you. How's the leg? Yeah, I think I can play on. No, sorry. Jurgen's come out and said this. I've been predicting this from about 4 or 5 weeks ago that this is what's being said. Fabinho was the same situation again. He went down going, something's not quite right. Come off the pitch. Come off the pitch. I'm not risking you because the FA Cup is incredibly important. But what we also have to do is trust in the team. If Van Dijk comes off, we've got Joel Matip.
Yep.
We need to trust these guys. If you're going to have players in your team, you need to trust them.
And also the same thing, isn't it? Even Kovacic, yes, he could have gone on for maybe 10, 15 minutes more, but why take the risk at the end of the day? You got N'Golo Kante, who is actually a fit N'Golo Kante, and you did see him when he's actually fit, what he does, and he, for some reason, he looked fresh when he came on, and he actually changed the game up to a little bit. But
Yeah,
you also can see in him, even though he hasn't played a massive part, with his age and the type of player he is and the amount of running he does for the team, you
yeah,
see in him that how much it has taken away from him as well. And it
yeah.
is what it is. At the end of the day, I welcome these 5 substitutes
It's going to be
because it's
brilliant.
very important.
And to just cover what Twisted said there, you're right, mate. It will. I mean, think about it. Let's say you're Brighton and you've got a 1-1 against City. Let's say, for
Mm,
example. Yes, they will. They
yeah,
will take a striker off to bring another centre back on. They will take a centre midfielder off to put a right back on if they want to double up in a particular area.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's going to change the game tactically. It's going to change the game the way we go forward. But it's also going to change the quality. We
Mm,
will get more consistent quality football when we let our players have a rest.
Mm-hmm.
When we these guys, the level of professional performance now is so high. We can't compare the past to today.
Mm-hmm.
The past, the speed of football. Please, just go back if you think there isn't a difference. Just look at the 2005 semi-final between Chelsea and Liverpool. It
Yep.
looks like it's being played on half speed. It's
Yep.
slow. Why is the ball not going forward? I find myself tailing, like, why are we not passing the ball forward?
Exactly
That
right.
was the way the game was played. The game now is played at such a speed. You've got players like Luis Diaz who can hit 35 kilometers an hour. Like how are you going to keep running at that kind of a speed?
Yep.
30 odd games a season. There's no slow coaches in football anymore. They're all fast.
Yep.
Um, and we need to protect these players, and I really look forward to it. But there's going to need to be investment in a lot of teams. I think a lot of teams are going to have to invest in having better squads. It's not just having a good 11. They're going to need a better squad, and recruitment will be key. Brentford's recruitment will be really key.
Yep.
You're going to see Fulham come up this season. Their recruitment needs to be better. They've had poor recruitment whenever they've come up to the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
They'll come up and try and play a brand of football that will at least try and keep them up.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect that. I'm not sure whether or not they'll stay up, but every team. We're going to go over this, aren't we? Kind of in our season review as to who we're going to bring in, as to whose recruitment needs to be done, because there's a lot of clubs fishing in a very small pond, very
Correct.
small.
And then we go to the last two games. And before we go into the City game, just a little word on the Aston Villa and the Crystal Palace game. Then I do need to ask you a question on the Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace game. I know
Yes.
this is a touchy subject with Stevie G, your legend, your captain.
Oh yeah.
I- do you think he's done a good enough job at Aston Villa?
I don't
For
think
me,
he'll
it's a
be.
bit underwhelming.
Yeah, I don't think he will be happy
Right.
with what he's seen,
Hmm.
and there will be occasions where he will be disappointed in what he's had available to him. What I will say is that Aston Villa have been a team who've created lots of chances. They're a
Right.
team who plays a decent brand of football. What he can't do, like Thomas Tuchel can't do, is put the ball in the net.
They can't do that, isn't it?
When Tottenham beat them 5-0, Aston Villa had at least three big chances. So I
Big
watched the
chances.
game. It wasn't a 5-0 game. Big chances. Danny Ings, Ollie Watkins. He's relying on these guys to go out there and score and do their jobs, and they're not. If the team wasn't generating the chances, then I would agree that he's had a poor season. But I think he will be disappointed. Next season, Aston Villa have reportedly are going to back him in his
Mm.
transfers. He's got
They have to.
Coutinho now. Well, they have to. If their aspirations are is to break into the top 8 and try and become a European club again, they're going to need to spend their transfers that they made the start of this season, having sold Jack Grealish, screamed of a team who had absolutely no idea that they were going to lose Jack Grealish at any point, shape, or form.
Mm.
It was like, who do we buy? Leon Bailey. Okay,
Oh,
yes, he's
Buendia.
not. Emi Buendia. Okay, we'll bring him in. Who
And
else should we
Leon
bring in?
Bailey hasn't been that fit
He's
as well, isn't
played
it?
a handful of matches this season.
He's played well in those handful of matches, but not enough, isn't it?
It's not good enough. It
Mm.
isn't good enough. Steven Gerrard, after some of the interviews, has shown that he's called out the players and said he's not seeing them do what he's asking them to do. There's
Mm.
players in his team who he's openly calling out after interviews, rather than naming them. He's saying there's players out there who are not doing what we're asking them to do. They're not getting on board with what we want to do as a club. He is a successful person. Gerrard will be a success because he's driven by success. He's been a person who
That's
can do
that's
this.
how Gerard is, and that's what Gerard's mentality is, and it will always be in that way. But at the end of the day, they need to make that investment in the correct places. Ollie Watkins is a very good player, but you need better than Ollie Watkins. You need better
You
than
need more
Danny.
consistency. Last season he was brilliant. This season he's been bang average. He's been mediocre, and that's not good enough. You're letting your team down. You're
Hmm.
letting your manager down. Gerrard gets the flack, but the players out there who aren't scoring the goals are off scot free, and somehow it's not their fault. It
Exactly right.
is. If
It is
Gerrard,
their
as I
fault.
say, the way to judge who the problem is based on, are the chances being made? Yes. Are these chances of good quality? Yes.
Yes.
Are you setting up in a way that frustrates the opposition? Let's use the Liverpool game for an example. Aston Villa versus Liverpool. You watched it with me.
Hmm.
I was saying this is how it is, isn't it?
Yep.
Play Liverpool like it's a cup final, and they were. They
Yep.
played like a cup final, fighting for every ball, hunting down, pressing hard, pressing high. They were working their socks off. The fitness levels weren't there to keep up with Liverpool. Hardly any team can do that, but they were playing a way that really put a lot of pressure on Liverpool. That made it very difficult for us to play. He susses us out. He did it difficult. His first game when he lost 1-0 to Liverpool, he lost to a penalty. Mings is letting him down. Tyrone Mings is not good enough. He needs another centre back. He gets in the England setup, but the man's a calamity. He's a
I don't know
calamity.
how Tyrone Mings gets into the England setup, because Tyrone Mings is absolutely not good enough to be in the England setup. But
It's consistency.
I would guarantee, I will tell you this: he is still better than Harry Maguire. But in an England setup, Harry Maguire
It's
is
amazing.
class.
Yeah, he's a top player for England, but again, it's different systems, different setups, and
Mm,
when you're asking them to come out and do this, he was going to get backed. If the transfers are good, the players that he brings in at Aston Villa, I think we're going to see Aston Villa creeping up that
that ladder.
table. I think that the Aston Villa fans and I think the rest of the football community needs to be a bit more realistic on. Don't judge Gerrard because of his history. Judge the fact that he's taking Aston Villa somewhere.
Yeah,
Aston Villa for
they
them, they're a mid-table club
they need to
basically.
differentiate from the player and the manager as well.
Yeah, and that's it. You can't blame a manager for making a system that creates chances. If those players don't finish, it's the players' problem.
Hmm.
Simple as that. It's as
Yep,
simple as that. If Jurgen Klopp had set up a system that wasn't generating chances, then it's Klopp's problem. That's
exactly
why we
right.
need to change our system.
Hmm.
But that's in-game management. You change things, you change players, you put players between lines, you put players to break lines, you play them higher up the pitch. That's how things are done. Um, I don't think I'm very glad that Klopp has signed the new contract. Of course, I am
Hmm.
because I was a little bit concerned as to whether or not we were going this way that a lot of clubs have gone. Oh,
Hmm.
let's get an ex-player in. It's kind of the fashionable thing to do. Chelsea have
Yeah,
done it. You know,
like we did it because we had no choice with
yeah,
the transfer ban and everything. So,
yeah.
but it worked out well for us in the end.
Yeah, there you go. Sometimes you've got to go backwards to go forwards. But yeah, he's not had a great one, but he's not had a bad one. I think it's
Mm.
an Aston Villa performance. I think it's more on the club he inherited than it is the club that he's got. Um, Dropping points to Leeds when they drew 3-3 would have been very disappointing. And
Yep,
dropping but home to Palace, it's not. That's not a disgrace. It's not. You wouldn't be
because
happy with it.
Palace is in a very very good vein of form as well. So
And this is why. This is what I'm going to say is that every Patrick Vieira and Gerrard have got nearly as many points as each other. I don't think
yep,
there's really anything in it.
yep. Let me just
Everyone
double check.
waxes lyrical about how well Palace have been,
Hmm.
but Gerrard is a failure. We need to move away from the idea that it's a case of one's done better or the other. And the two of them have both got clubs which should be with the talent available to them somewhere around that point. They shouldn't be ever be near the relegation zone.
No.
Um, but it's just the way they recruit forward. So I think the big game is West Ham City.
Yep, and I want to start this off by saying I think we all predicted that there was a draw in City, and it finally happened, which gave you that little opening to maybe go and win on the Premier League. But it's still in City's control. It is not in Liverpool's hands yet. The only thing Liverpool can do is to go on and win their game and try to win their game. If the game permits, to try and put past as many goals as possible,
But
or just try
but
and
this,
win the game as maximum as you can.
of course, I mean, looking now, I predicted that City would have a goalless game in the.
Yeah,
They've had 4 this season. I just felt like they still had a draw in them. I predicted a 0-0, and I have been for months now.
yeah,
They nearly had that goalless game. They came back in that second half, and then they got the own goal.
yeah,
The penalty, wow.
yeah.
Riyad Mahrez should never go near a pressure penalty ever again in his entire life. He can't take them. He
No,
can't. He can't take them.
and
Just
and,
don't give him them. Why are
and the
you
only
got? Why is De Bruyne on the pitch? Oh, but I'll give it to Riyad Mahrez. What are you thinking?
the thing is, I thought to myself that City would definitely have like a draw. However, I didn't expect Liverpool to have a draw at the form they were in as well. But it is what it is. Shit happens. You know what I mean?
It is. Southampton we played Southampton tomorrow away. We don't need goals.
No.
We don't need it's because the plan is simple, isn't it now?
Yeah, one goal would
2
one
wins.
nil. 1-0 is enough to win tomorrow, and
2 1
the
nils.
yeah, and that's it. Two wins
We
is the most important thing, and hopefully, City draws their next game, gives you that chance to win.
if they draw against Villa, I mean, this is where we go into this one. I'm not going to be that Liverpool fan who starts. I did say I felt like it was done.
Yeah.
It still technically is an incredibly unlikely result that City will not win against Villa.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
They have nothing else to play for.
No.
City have no other trophies
And
to win the
and
season.
Pep Guardiola won't let it happen as well.
You're asking City to not only bottle the Champions League, the
Bottle
league.
everything, by the way.
Well, bottle the Premier League. I give them the slack that I believe that they gave up on the FA Cup and the League Cup so that they could be successful in the Champions League. That's no one makes the changes in that semi-final if you're not throwing it. When they made those changes against Liverpool and played De Stefan and oh crikey, I don't even remember who was in that team, but it was a mess. It was I didn't make any sense to me in the slightest that to do that in a semi-final to rest players. They were quite happy to take the risk to drop that game. They dropped the game to win the Champions League. They didn't win the Champions League. This now is asking City, the most ruthlessly efficient team in
Dominant.
Premier League history, who have amassed so many points in the Premier League. I can't see them not winning.
I'll ask you this
I can't.
question. Let's say City bottle it by some miracle. You never know. Football gods can be, cruel, and they might bottle it. City end up finishing the league with nothing, right? So Liverpool might go on to do the quad for an example, right? So we know out and out Liverpool have had the best season in
Football
their
history.
in football history, and that is that, and there is no debate there, right? Has Chelsea had a better season than City?
Have Chelsea had a better season than City?
it's a question. It's a conversation to be had.
I would say City have had the more disappointing season. A season in which their destiny was to go one more step, wasn't it? Their destiny was to win that Champions League. They have, if any City fan was ever to sit there and tell you that they weren't going to go for the Champions League this season, They're telling lies.
Twisted certainly thinks so.
You know, I just look at Chelsea, and I was just saying, we'll cover it in the FA Cup bit, but like this season is not dreadful. I know it's disappointing to not win the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup.
You
It
got to
is,
put context to the season
but
as
you
well.
need to put some context into this season that Chelsea were never going to win the league. I know
Mm.
pundits made out that you were. You weren't. You're not a complete enough team to win the
No,
league.
we were
Manchester
simply not good
City
enough.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, not on your day,
Oh,
absolutely.
on a
But
day
you don't
we
play a
beat
league over
anybody.
90 minutes. You play it
No.
over 38 games. So
Hence
it's
why the
different.
90 minutes was so competitive.
Exactly. And we'll go on to that one. It's for me, City's one is more probably the most embarrassing season in football.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't want to look at myself in the mirror again if that
so
was our greatest rival as it stands. Because their rivalry is with us. They're not a rival to us. We have a footballing rivalry because if it wasn't for them, we're dominating football.
oh
They're
yeah,
the only
100%.
reason that we're not dominating it. It's taken them billions and billions of pounds to knock us slightly off our perch, literally by a couple of points. Um, if they do draw or lose, and Liverpool win both their games, I don't know how Pep Guardiola starts again next season.
No, I mean, but the question is then, has Chelsea had a better season than City? I get all of what you said, but has
I
Chelsea had
don't
a better
know.
season?
I don't know because
They they won
they've
the
both they've both not been great. Yours is better on the basis of at least you steadied the ship, you've got some more points, you've reached two finals, you've lost two finals to, perhaps one of the best teams in world
the
football. There's no
yeah.
shame in it. There's no
There's no shame.
shame.
Plus,
It was
won
like,
two
oh,
trophies as well.
we played Wigan and lost the Carabao Cup final to Wigan, and then we played Tottenham in the FA Cup final and lost to Tottenham.
Oh, that's not gonna
Then
happen
there would
because
be
Tottenham
real
is not
shame,
gonna
and
win
then
it yet.
it's easily your season is a lot worse.
Yeah,
I would
but
say that yours is fractionally, I'm talking a hair's width better.
yeah,
Just,
and won
just,
two trophies as well.
just. Yeah, and because you've got two trophies, at least you're coming away with some silverware this season. Two trophies you were expected to win, of
But
course,
expected
but
to
you
win and
still
win it.
did what you were expected to do. You
Yeah,
weren't expected to beat Liverpool in either final. You were not the favourites in either final to
no,
beat them. So you did what you were meant to do. 100%. It is successful, but not at the ambitions of Chelsea.
yeah.
Not
I
for
mean,
Chelsea's ambitions.
this is also
Winning the
pretty
Club
true.
World Cup and the Super Cup is an expectation.
Hmm.
If we're in it, look, hopefully next season, I
You are
expect us to
expected to
win them.
win it. Yeah,
I want both of them.
yeah,
I see both of them as equal to a Carabao Cup.
yeah. You
They're
have
both
to.
a trophy which people make fun of, or it's only this, it's only that. Oh yeah, it's the
And the
Mickey Mouse.
Club
But
World Cup.
at the end of the day, when I look at the Champions Wall at Liverpool, within 1 hour of us winning our FA Cup, that number 7 turned into a number 8.
Yeah,
And if we win the
exactly.
Club World Cup, that'll go from 1 to
To two.
2.
Yeah, and also then the Club World Cup, I don't think of it as like a Carabao Cup. I think of it as a higher grade than a Carabao Cup, maybe slightly below, or more, or maybe a little similar to an FA Cup because
No. The
maybe
Club World
slightly below. The
No,
thing
when I say a
is,
Carabao Cup, I say it's something which, if our clubs went for it every season, like if we
no, no,
weren't going to go for anything else, we would win it.
no,
Do you
no,
know what I'm saying?
we would win it, and we have to win it. But the thing is, the qualification for that World Cup is extremely hard. You have to be
Oh,
the
absolutely.
champion
Oh,
of
yeah,
the Champions League.
absolutely. You have to win the Champions League, and that is why I don't think it makes it higher, but I think it's why it makes it a proper
That's why
trophy.
it
When people
matters.
try
You
to
know what I
take
mean?
the fun of it and go, "Oh, it's not a real," it is. It totally is a
And
real
that's why
trophy.
I also keep the Super Cup in high regard, because you're playing the Europa League champs.
Look,
It's not an easy thing to do.
and people make it out as if though, oh, it's just an exaggerated friendly. It's not. You have the Europa League winners will absolutely want to beat you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they're not
This is
coming
their
there for participation.
opportunity. This is their opportunity to pick up another European trophy. They may never another pick up another European trophy for the next
No,
50 years. If Rangers or Eintracht Frankfurt win that Europa League and play the Super Cup against Real Madrid or Liverpool, they may never get another opportunity to
no,
play in this match. They may
I get
not.
it.
So that is a big game. When we beat you guys last season to it in
2020, live
in
Frank Lampard's first
2020,
season. Yeah.
I absolutely wanted that trophy.
Oh yeah, same here, man.
Every second because of who we were playing against. The fact is, it was another trophy in the cabinet. I hate it when people say, oh, Klopp has only won 4 cups. He's not, ladies and gentlemen. He's won 6. He has won 6 in 7 years. If it doesn't fit your narrative because you want to shit on him and you want to
Mm,
make out, oh, he's only won this in 7 years. No, he's won 6 trophies in 7 years. And if he
bro.
goes on and wins the Champions League this season, I'll tell you now, there's only one manager in football who's ever been more successful, and that's for Alex Ferguson. Forget
100%.
your
And
numbers. Forget the numbers. It's about, oh, but he won 5 Premier Leagues, or he won 4, or he won 3. Irrelevant. No one else has completed the set. No one else has won them all. That is equal. That is huge. There's 2 managers ever to have completed the set to win all domestic honours with one club.
and also, Dan, to make more sense on your thing, most of these teams or most of these fan bases who actually complain about it and say this is this is that, they haven't won it, so they don't know what it means to win it.
If any other club, trust me, if Manchester United, if City, if Arsenal, if Tottenham, if you were in that cup, I tell you now, you would want it.
The
You would
feeling
want
is
to
different.
win it.
Like, we have felt what it means.
It's it's a having that gold badge on the front of your shirt. I
It
have it on
means a
my
lot.
goalkeeper shirt, my Liverpool shirts. I have it all. I could not. I could not have wanted that more.
Oh,
I wanted that on there as a piece of history that we were the world champions of league football.
I waited for 10 years to see that badge once again.
Yeah, and
It it is
it's
what
a
it is.
point of pride. The trophy's changing. I believe. I believe the format is changing not after this season.
Mm.
Where it's going to go into a proper league. I believe. We'll
Ah,
probably cover that.
like the
In-
Super League.
yeah. Yeah, it's going to be changed, which is great because it needs more respect. It needs
Yeah,
more respect. It's a proper trophy. So, yeah, by a fraction, by a
yeah,
hair,
right.
only because, oh, and I say only because they are going to the well for the for the Premier League. That's
Yeah,
the only difference. If they don't pick up that Premier League,
yeah.
I don't want to imagine it, to be honest with you. I'm trying
No,
not to imagine it
no.
too much.
And this comment by our own brother Twisted, this season was the most difficult off the pitch for Chelsea and still managed to be competitive against the big teams. And yeah, and that's exactly why I want to add context towards the season, and which actually brings on to our final topic of what we are going to discuss, the FA Cup. Then congratulations.
And
It
congratulations to you.
Fucking hell, bro.
We both won an FA Cup this
We
weekend,
both
so
did. We both did. Absolutely.
and yeah, I mean, again, another chess match of a game, another
Oh,
chess match. Two,
what a game. I enjoyed it. I
two
don't care
play,
about
two
whoever says what it
teams.
is.
The ball would not go in the net. It wouldn't go on target. I don't think anyone had a shot on target, to be honest with you.
Fucking
For
Christian Pulisic was such a wasteful. Luis
the man can't.
Diaz.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Diaz could have scored about three on his own. He was brilliant.
It was
Amazing game.
absolutely
Like,
amazing.
you
Simply
can't believe it. He's been at the club for three and a half months now, and the way he went into that final, he has Reece James and Trevor Chalobah double marking him up, and he was
oh,
just getting in,
I remember
mentally
what I
pulling
said
out
to
big
you about.
saves.
Remember what I said to you about Chalobah?
Yeah,
I mean, he came out well afterwards. Like after the first 15 minutes, he actually played
but
pretty
he
well.
ran him ragged.
My God, he did. I mean,
He ran him ragged.
anybody would have a tough time with with Luis Diaz. And let me stop sharing the Premier League thing and maybe bring up the FA Cup statistics
Yeah, definitely.
for us to have a talk because
Just
it's
one
such
second, just
a
get the charger.
yeah, that's good. So as Dan said, like Chelsea had 10 shots on goal, two on target. Liverpool had 17 shots on goal and two on target. So pretty much both teams had only two shots on target, and the position 47 to 53, 553 passes, 630 pass accuracy almost the same, almost the same in fouls, one yellow card, one offside each, and five corners. It was such a brilliant game. For me, it was a brilliant game. I don't know about the others who are actually like saying that it was a boring game. For me, I was at the edge of my seat because I didn't expect Chelsea to do this. I mean, that's why I'm proud of the team. Like I did not expect Chelsea to do that.
You, you see, you said, I mean, after when we did our stream before the game started, I said to you I was nervous. You know,
Yeah,
I was worried, and that's a really good analogy.
exactly right, Kristen.
And what I want to bring up is what I suppose I want to say more is Chelsea fans. I'm just going to put it out there, especially the ones on social media. Which side of the fence do you want to sit on? Which side do you want? Is your team good?
Yeah.
The same team that won the Champions League last season. You've not lost anyone. You've only
Hmm.
added Lukaku, so
Hmm.
you're still as good of a team as you were last season, who won the Champions League. But how is it that when you've lost, it's because your players are all ass and they're all not very good, and then they're not going to be able to go out there and compete. But then you can also compete with us. So which is it? I don't understand which side it is. You either have a bad team, and that bad team then went on and won a Champions League, by the way, which doesn't happen, by the way. You don't. Bad teams don't win Champions Leagues.
No.
It's not a mistake. Your team hasn't lost a big group of players. You've lost an injury to Ben Chilwell. I'm afraid these things happen.
Yeah.
Marcus Alonso is not the same
He
standard.
actually played well in that final, I got to admit.
He did, and I think he's not given as much respect as I think that he deserves. There's times where he's not brilliant in certain respects, but he's not a bad player. You have a very good team. Over 90 minutes, Chelsea can play anybody. They can play us.
I'll put it to you this way then, right? We right now are simply not good enough to win a Premier League or be at that level with a Liverpool or a City because of squad depth and so many other
But who
things like this.
is?
No, and this is my analysis,
In
right?
world football, who is?
Yeah, exactly. But we might also pick up the odd trophy, the Carabao Cup or a Champions League or a FA Cup, because those are cup competitions. We might pick up those odd cups along the way because there is a quality team and also a quality manager who can set up a team for that 90 to 120 minutes to get you that win.
Yeah.
However, we are not good enough to be as competitive as Liverpool or Manchester City in the league. But if he can make this team competitive for 90 minutes in a cup game, if he is given what he wants and the right player, and also maybe get more consistent players, you know, consistently putting in performances like a 7 or a 6,
Yeah.
whereas you get Lukaku, one day he'll put out a performance of like a 9, and then the next 10 matches he'll put out a performance of like a 3. You know what I mean? A player who
100%.
puts on a performance like a 6 or maybe a 6.5, which is right average, but
I think I just
consistently. We
I
don't
think
know
it's
where
about
we will
being
go.
realistic, isn't it? There's not enough players, I'm afraid, in world football to have
Mm,
three top teams all going for this
mm,
title. There isn't. There's not enough players. Someone's got to lose out. We'll discuss this when it comes to top four next season.
mm.
Someone's going to lose out, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not good. It just necessarily means the quality's too high. The
Exactly.
quality's too high in
It's
this league.
simply that we are not as good as a Liverpool. The thing
Yeah.
I completely agree with you then on all your points, because right now I as after the game, the first thing I said is we need to dust ourselves off and go again next season,
It's
because
hard.
it's extremely difficult, right? What we have achieved to be in two finals, it's not easy to be in two finals with teams like Liverpool and Man City going in for everything as well. And the only thing that we can do now is to dust ourselves off and move forward and take that next step, you know what I mean? And
Uh,
and there will be so many positives we can take from this game as well. And just like Liverpool, just imagine if we can build a team who can be consistently competitive with a team like Liverpool for 38 games, then and that's the dream, and that's the
and
dream. But
that's always
that
that's
we
always the dream, isn't it? That's
yeah,
always the dream because this season teams like Liverpool and City have been so consistent because so many big teams, and I'll say that with the exclamation mark, have let themselves down. It's not good enough for Manchester United to accept 4 defeats to Liverpool and City. It ain't good
no,
enough. It's not good enough for Chelsea to accept no wins against them.
yeah, two
Two
like four
draws and
games,
2 losses. It isn't good
two
enough.
draws and two losses. Yeah, exactly right.
It's not. It's not good enough for Chelsea. It isn't. So I heard Chelsea fans going. There was one that I saw on one of the streams. It was that they said that Liverpool were the most undeserving team to have won these
No,
trophies
they deserve to win it.
Because Chelsea were the better team in all 4 matches, and
It doesn't
it's
work that
irrelevant.
way.
It's
It
irrelevant.
doesn't work that way,
It's
bro.
irrelevant.
In that final, you got to
Like
also
in this final
perform.
here, let's just look at the statistics.
Yeah, it's
Liverpool, more
almost perfect.
shots, same on target, more possession, more passes, more pass accuracy, less fouls, no yellow cards, no red cards, only offside the once, and the same amount of corners.
Yeah,
It's fractional. The game's
it's very,
fractional.
very, very fractional, and it's almost you can't separate them. There is not like a 50% gap between the two teams. Maybe there is like a 3% gap, because so many things. At the end of the day, when if you're playing 100% in this final, and also Liverpool is performing at that 100%, firing all cylinders, it's sometimes you need that little bit of luck as well.
Yeah.
Aspilicueta being so reliable for us, Mason Mount being so reliable for us, they also got to understand they are not going up against Kelleher in goal. They are going up against Alisson in goal, and Aspi, who has been so good in the penalty spot for us, for the first time in his career, hits the post. Mason Mount, who has been so good for us from the penalty spots, it wasn't a bad penalty. It was actually a very good penalty. It's just that Allison is, and I believe this is my personal opinion. Allison is the best goalkeeper in the world, and he saves it. And and those are the small margins that cost us the game. Just because of that, Chelsea fans can't go and say, "Ah, Thomas Tuchel out. Why didn't he put Werner
Yeah.
in? Why didn't he
The
do this?
react
Why
the
didn't he do that?"
reaction was
What the
the
fuck is wrong
reaction
with
was
you?
crazy. Everyone
Exactly.
became so like there was so much on like your social media, your Twitters, and you brought your players, you brought it's Mount's fault. He had a shit penalty. Okay, it's not a shit penalty if it's the wrong if the keeper's gone the wrong way, is it? It's a great penalty,
It's a
and we all
great
sit here and
penalty.
go, "Well done." There's no a shit penalty. Yeah, it's at a good height.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, but
It,
it's
a
not
shit
it's
penalty
not if
would have
Allison
been
goes
like,
the wrong way. A crap penalty is when you miss the target completely. That's a
yeah,
shit penalty.
I would consider Mane's effort on that penalty wasn't good enough.
It
You
was,
know what?
and it was actually funny enough. It was explained that is that Klopp actually told him to go a different way than he would normally go. He would go left,
Right.
not right, and he did. And he said he took that on there. He said that's I now know. I now know. I now learned the lesson to just shut up. That's what he said. kind of thing. And there was some psychology going on in that
Oh,
final.
it,
In the
it,
sorry, there's some
it
there's
was a
some psychology going
brilliant
on when it
match.
came to the penalties. I posted a thread that was on Twitter, and if you can look for it out, guys out there, just have a look at it. It's really interesting. The way that the penalties were divvied out,
Hmm?
how quickly they were divvied out, how quickly they got to the inspirational team, message, and how quickly the players were able to break huddle, have
Hmm?
their own time, take up the advantageous side of the pitch, which is closest to the managers and the dugout,
Mhm.
and just be ready. You applied pressure to Tuchel. Tuchel will have noticed that Liverpool are ready to take the
Mhm.
penalties. That's pressure. You build pressure. There's little tiny little things that go on, and they matter. It's not an accident that these things have happened. Liverpool have been working with New 11 now for about 3 or 4 years. All of this is not an accident. It's practice. It's
and
been done.
and also then they got to understand, right? These are new information that are coming out from the Chelsea camp as well. Kai Havertz comes into the Wembley Stadium, tries to warm up and tries to do his thing, but his hamstrings are too tight and he can't go out, right? What if he goes out in that and he pulls his hamstring? That's another 3 4 months as well for Kai Havertz to get in. And plus, we lose a player maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes into the game, right?
You're
And
losing 20 minutes into the match. You've now got to make another substitution straight away.
Exactly, and Kai, he's important, and he's also a big game player. Yes, you need him to be there, but if he's hamstrung by his hamstrings, what is he gonna do? Andres Christiansen inside the fucking hotel walks out on the team, doesn't want to be included in the team sheet.
Is
You
that
know,
is that ha- that what that's what happened?
that's what has happened. You know what I mean? That's why Trevor Chalobah has to start. You know, and this is what I mean. Like things like this has happened for Thomas Tuchel during the FA Cup, and for us to be in that penalty shootout, I am absolutely proud of this team.
None of it surprised me. I didn't understand when people were going on and saying that, oh, it's going to be an easy game for Liverpool. I thought we'd win in full time. I
Hmm.
did. I thought we'd maybe get a
And
goal,
nobody
maybe
else
two.
thought that. That's what I thought. I thought Liverpool will win like 1-0. That's what I
I
was
didn't
thinking.
think we'd demolish you. Like there was people going out there saying, "Oh, it'll be free or whatever." It's like behave. This is Chelsea in a
You're not
final. This is
idiots.
Thomas Tuchel in a cup competition. This guy knows what he's doing. This is what he's done from every club he's been at. He is proving to me, I'm afraid, over and over that he is a very good version of Rafa Benitez. He's a
Hmm.
very good cup manager. You will win more cups with Tuchel, definitely. You'll be back in the Carabao Cup final, and you'll be back in the FA Cup final, and you'll probably be back in the Champions League final if you give him enough time.
Yep.
I'm not convinced that you'll win another league with him, though. That's
But
just my opinion. I
but
don't think
then
you will.
But then even for us to even know that, the thing is he needs his own players in order for us to even know that. You know what I mean?
And that's right, and that's what I said. I said he needs time. He needs to be given time to prove me wrong. He
Mm.
does.
And
Um,
and that's the thing, it's so strange, all these things that goes on and all these things that has happened in the season, and then this happening before the FA Cup. Kai Havertz hamstrings are Kai Havertz hamstrings, and that's an injury that can happen at any time. It's just unlucky that it happened at that time. But Andres Christiansen, thank God he's going to fucking Barcelona, and good luck in Barcelona, and please take
Good
him if
luck to
you want.
Barcelona.
Oh, if you want me to buy his fucking plane tickets right now, I'll buy it. Please go. I don't want him anymore. How could
Letting
you
your
do
team
that?
down like that is outrageous. I mean,
How could you do that?
I said to you before the game kicked off, didn't I? I was really pleased that Havertz wasn't in the team.
Oh yeah,
I
you were
was.
very happy about that, isn't it?
I was
Because he could
pleased
just simply pop
because
up.
he's a great player. He's a top player. He's
Could
a
you?
he's a player who's good in finals. And
Could you?
Christiansen didn't bother me so much because the man's been a big bottle job for multiple occasions.
Yeah,
You know,
but still, that's another option for Thomas Tuchel, isn't it? Why make him not have that option? And for an example, out of those 5 chances, if all those 5 chances fell to Havertz, he's at least going to convert one of them, because it's the big stage, and that's what Havertz do. That's what he
yeah,
does all the time.
And that's where, when I say about the team that you have available, I mean, just quickly going through it. Edouard Mendy's a top goalkeeper. He's a world-class goalkeeper. He's
Very,
brilliant.
very good.
Great keeper. Um, Reece James, one of the best right backs in football. He is.
Mm,
He's one of the best right backs in football. Marcus Alonso is a Premier League standard player. He is.
mm.
He
He is
may
a
not be
Premier League.
what you guys want, but he is a Premier League standard player. Antonio Rudiger's probably in the top 10 centre backs available in
Oh,
world
he
football as
he
we stand.
was magnificent
He
that
was
day.
brilliant.
Thiago
Trevor
Silva,
Chalobah, you know, he is not probably what Chelsea want, but
not
he
yet, maybe.
not yet, but he went out there and he performed.
Yeah,
Chelsea Football Club pay him his wages and he's in the first team for a reason. Not because, oh, that's all we can choose from. It's because they believe in him. They believe there's a player there.
and
And
also
he did
Thomas Tuchel
the,
trusted him.
yes, and he was right to trust him. He did the very best that he could do up against probably one of the best left-sided
Luis
forwards
Diaz,
in
my
football.
God.
The difficulty in keeping up with a man like that. Thiago Silva, brilliant again. Like we said in our team that we chose from,
Yeah,
he was brilliant. He was
went
intelligent,
down,
clever.
went down with a with a thing to his knee, got
Yep,
up and went on to finish the game as well. It's incredible.
and went on with it. So moving to your midfield, Kovacic, brilliant. I'd have him at Liverpool in a heartbeat.
Mm.
Um,
Jorginho had a good game as
Jorginho
well.
had a great game. He had a really good
Oh,
game. He's had some bad performances, but he's had a great game. Fantastic, and he's always capable of that.
mm.
Who was your third midfielder?
Mason Mount.
Mount, fantastic. He had a great game. He
Five
fought
chances he created. Five
he,
chances he
five
created. Clear
chances
cut.
created. He had a brilliant game. Fantastic. Player I'd have at Liverpool in a heartbeat. Again, another player I'd have at Liverpool. Pulisic, his decision making's really poor, but he was where he was asked to be.
He did
Yes,
everything except finish.
exactly. And we can throw that. We could say that to Luis Diaz. He did
Mm,
everything but finish.
exactly.
So what's the difference?
That was
Not in the 90 minutes. There was
mm,
no difference.
no.
Lukaku's out there doing what Lukaku can do. He was
All,
okay.
also,
He
we need to
wasn't
put
brilliant.
no, but you also need to put context on Lukaku. He is up against a mountain of men. You got Ibrahima Konate, who is a mountain of a man. Incredible. He was
It's
sublime.
frightening that he's 22.
Exactly. And then you got Virgil van Dijk. I mean, this is Lukaku. The ball doesn't stick to him even if you paste it on him.
Yeah. It's going to be a hard day for absolutely anybody coming up
Anybody.
against that defence. And then we just look at that team there. There's no one in that team who's a bad player. It's just Chelsea fans, stop being so reactionary and now making it out that it's all the players' fault. You weren't saying this when you beat City. You
No,
weren't saying this. You can't have it both ways and say that your team massively overperformed because they didn't. There on 90 minutes, Chelsea's team is very good. Very good.
I was
You
cussing
lost
out
on a
Christian
night bag.
Pulisic. I was cussing out Pulisic during the game, but that is because we were watching the game and things like that happened,
Yeah,
and that is
and
what
if
it
you're
is.
not, you would frustrate you. I had the same thing for Diaz because I thought, for God's sakes, get it in the net.
Yeah,
Let's score one. The game changes. But it was exactly how I predicted it was going to be. It was another tight game. Chances for both teams. Both hit the woodwork. We
yeah,
hit the post. You hit the bar. You
fucking
couldn't have split us again. And it doesn't mean that you overperformed. You performed to your level.
exactly right.
You
Exactly right.
perform to your level. You perform to where you should be. You're a great team. You need some more players, but the league, it's a different thing.
It's a
So
different animal.
it's a different animal, but you'll be back in finals next season. You'll be back in finals. This isn't a bad season. You appreciate you didn't win 2 trophies, but you lost 2 trophies to Liverpool on penalties. Both
It,
teams could have done that. We could have done that, and we could have lost 2 finals on penalties. It
mm,
it just
it,
is what it is.
it is what it is because you lost with on penalties. It's not a bad thing.
And you
It's
lost it,
not
and it's who you lost it to. You lost it to Liverpool. You didn't lose it to some lower club. It's no disgrace to lose to that team. We all want these, heroic moments, don't we? But sometimes it's just the way that it is. But I was really pleased with the game. I thought the referee did a great job. I
Mm.
think that
I liked it as well.
it was a fair game as well. Liverpool and Chelsea's players, there was no silliness, there was no naughtiness, there was no
Mm.
daft tackles. Everyone's got on with playing good football. Um, Kovacic was the difference in the midfield. I think when you lost him, we did see a drop in the standards. That was a shame for you.
Yeah,
We missed we
and
missed Fabinho.
thank you, Dan James.
You'll never
Bec-
be forgiven for that, I'm afraid.
no,
We missed Fabinho. Henderson, brilliant job. I know we didn't see that drop in standards, but someone like Fabinho is just on his day. It's like another brick wall to go through.
correct.
Another brick wall before you reach the next brick wall. It's so difficult to put into context, and we got through it. We've got 2 trophies, 2 teams that have played 121 games of football between them. That's
Yeah,
outrageous. Like
it,
that, and the standards were not as high as I think we would have all wanted them, because by that second half of extra time,
it's
everyone
gone.
was fed up. They
Yeah.
were shattered. Like there was no energy.
Yeah.
It was like
Eh,
penalties. That'll
What
do.
what what could you expect from them as well? There's
No, and
nothing much.
that's it. And to fans of other clubs who go, "Oh, the final was shit, or it wasn't of a higher standard." Well, what do you expect? What can you expect from 2 teams who've played so much football? The 5 substitutes are going to assist with meaning that we see better standards of football
Mhm.
all the way through to the end. We want to see teams, go into the well, and we want to see teams doing stuff like this. Liverpool are on track for a treble. You
Mhm.
know, it's in our hands. We are playing Real Madrid. If we beat Southampton, the quad is still on,
Yeah,
okay, but it's not in our hands. So I
yeah,
don't want that to be, you didn't win the Premier League. Okay, we didn't, but so did 19 other teams. You
exactly
know,
right.
it's not
And
just
also
because
to add
we
more
don't win it.
context to it, if you lose it, you just lost it with 1 point.
Yeah, exactly. We
It's
lost it to a
mm,
point,
it
and
is what it
and
is.
and and the only fan base that can really say anything is City fans, all
Mm.
6 of them. Um, we won't be able to sit here and allow Chelsea fans to
No,
say this.
a- and you
United
know
fans,
me
it's the
perfectly
best.
well.
No,
I would
no,
never disrespect or say anything of that
no,
sort
it's
because
right,
I
but
know
it's
how hard
about
it is.
standards. It's about standards. There's no joy in going, "Oh, look, Liverpool didn't win something," when your club's not winning anything.
No, why would we
Like
make fun of it?
I'm not walking around here now because I know how bad it is at Chelsea. I know how disappointing it is. I know it
Yeah,
is. I know how disappointing it is for Manchester United fans. And I'll tell you why, because I've been there. I know
yeah,
exactly how it feels. I know
exactly right.
exactly where you guys have all been, especially United fans. And that's why I'm trying to impart a bit when we're having the conversations and saying to them, listen, it gets like this.
Mm.
We finished 8th in a season. It feels horrendous to watch your rival be winning trophies, but the trophies that Liverpool win now are irrelevant.
Mm.
They're irrelevant to Manchester United. They're irrelevant to Chelsea. The only the relevance ended on Saturday for
Mhm.
Chelsea, because that was it. There's no
Yeah.
more trophies that they could try and beat. You were relevant up to that point. Arsenal, that generally they have nothing really to say to Liverpool. We don't have much of a thing. I
No, but
always
they have a
generally have
lot
a,
to say
I
to
have a
Chelsea
little
fans.
bite every season, because we're used as some form of barometer stick, that if they do well against us, that's an idea if they're doing well at all. And they're so far away from where we are.
Yeah, they always like to go off on Chelsea fans, but for me, I don't really care for
No,
Arsenal fans, to be honest.
no, I mean that's
No.
it. I mean, where I live up in, obviously up in Merseyside. I don't bump into Arsenal fans. We have
No,
United fans. There's no City fans, or
there is no
uh,
City fans anyway.
no. There's only 6 of them, like I said. Anyway, um,
But then coming on to the FA Cup on another thing. So tomorrow we will also be doing another stream on the women's team, and I think that we will keep that we'll keep that second win of that FA Cup towards for that stream. Uh, I wanted to end the stream by talking about some transfer rumors and answering Twisted's question. Has Pep run out of ideas and has resorted to buying commercial signings? I think he might be right here.
it's a bit desperate, isn't it?
It seems desperate.
oh, let's sign Haaland.
Mhm.
Okay, you've already. Do
Going
you
for
need
Sam.
to go that deep to
Yeah.
win these trophies? It's almost a
Going for Frankie De
desperation
Jong
point.
as well again.
Yeah, the Haaland signing screams of desperation. It
Mhm.
screams of we're bringing Haaland in, and it's like a all-in sort of moment. They don't win the Champions League next season. There's another failure because it is. I'm sorry, City fans, but it will be.
Yep.
You've won the Premier League. You won't catch us.
By the
You're not going to
way,
catch Liverpool.
we have a special guest, Dan. Flo has decided to join us as an Arsenal
Come on
fan.
down.
Hello,
Hiya,
hello, Flo.
Flo. You
Hello,
all right,
gents.
mate?
How we doing? You good?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Literally just came up from. Could not make any earlier. Just came up from the opticians. All
Oh.
good. My eyesight, I can see really well. I'm
I can
happy.
see well now. How do you see tonight's match going? That's what I want to know.
Who's on tonight?
Who do you think's on tonight? Come on, Florence.
We don't
Flo,
know.
come on.
We
Who's
don't
on
know.
tonight?
You
We
know
don't
who's
know.
on tonight. Your
The,
boys are on
the
tonight.
Geordies. The Geordies on tonight. I heard.
How do you think that's going to go?
How are you feeling?
Feeling. You know, I can't say I feel awful. I can't say I feel awful. We just Arsenal miss a massive opportunity just to release the stress over 4 or 5 years period on the North London derby. They should have at least embarked to a draw or not concede any goals. I mean, that's the
Yes.
tactic, rightly. You know,
Did
winning.
Arteta get it wrong?
I think I got it completely wrong. I think emotion got to him.
Mm-hmm.
I think I mean, you know, with youngsters, it's different way to manage. I don't know, because I haven't managed youngsters, so I don't know. Like, you know, like when you got Roy Keane on your side, the likes of, you know, Jordan Henderson, you know, you just tell them once and they know what they do the rest after that.
Yeah.
Whether the coach is there or not, don't worry. They make sure that every player, when they go home, you know, no sex tonight, mate. You know, keep it in, and trust me, no scouts will have sex tonight. They won't. Like, until the Champions League game, they're not going to do anything. They're going to
None
keep
of
it
that
all
going
in.
up here, mate. Don't worry about that. I know that.
So
No,
I
mate, you
know
know
that
that
for a
you're
fact.
totally right. You're totally right. He got it wrong. He showed his immaturity as a manager with an immature team. They didn't need to win. They didn't need to win the game. A draw's
At all.
enough.
Just as long as you don't concede. That's the
Yeah.
main thing. The
Yeah.
trick was you put 10 defenders, you park the bus, Mourinho style. You park the bus. That's
Yeah.
all you got to do. Whether people say it's bad football, doesn't matter. You just park the bus. Don't give them up. Don't give
I
them
think
fucking
he's
3
the only
points.
Arsenal fan that we found that actually cares more about winning than playing nice football, to be honest.
No, yeah, but you know, like we're talking about. I mean, you know, this is major. You know, you can't. It's not about playing. It's about it's the commercial. It's marketing. It's where the club want to be. What's your target ultimately? You know, like, you know, everybody got short goal target. Yes, our goal is to reach top 6. We reached that 3 weeks ago. Fine. Next goal, top 4. We got it. Do it now.
In your hand.
In our hand. 3 games, for fuck's sake. 3 games we lost in a bounce. That, come on, that should never happen. We should have been top 4. We should have confirmed that top 4 place probably 2 weeks ago, even before playing Tottenham.
Yeah.
We should 100%. Have confirmed that.
It shouldn't have come down to this. It shouldn't have come down to that being such a big game. And now the pressure's on. Injuries, red cards.
Exactly. And, you know, we don't know how to handle pressure. So is that City. So as Man City. I think I put Man City and Arsenal in the same bracket when it comes to that. Because the pressure that Liverpool has given just by winning and nothing else, just winning. We are winning. We don't care what you do. We just win.
Yeah. You can't control it. You can't control other teams. You just do what you have to do.
And not just that, you know, I mean, I'm based in Liverpool. And trust me, when I walk down the street, when I'm with my mate, all my Liverpool fans in Liverpool, they know they're going to win. They just know. Everybody knows in the city knows they're going to win the next game.
Even we know that they were going to win.
Like the confidence, like every granny, you talk about 65 years old, 75 years old, they know they're gonna win the next game. They know
because
and
that's the
confidence.
expectation. It's expectation. It's a case of we know what our team will do, we know what our players will do, and we will just win. We've won before we step on the pitch. That's the way I see it. As
And I don't know if you guys
hit the nail on
remember
head.
you've seen the interview that Van Dijk had with after winning the semi-final against Valencia, Villarreal.
Yeah.
The interview he had with and saying, Thierry, you did not I text Thierry back, but you didn't text me back. That interview, I don't know if you guys can recall that. Look at the body language. Just look at his body language. Nothing else. Just look at the way he's so composed, game by game.
Yeah.
2 cups now.
He doesn't look like he doesn't look like the man sweats, does he?
No.
He doesn't look like the guy sweats. He's just the coolest man going. Nothing bothers him. Nothing phases him.
No, but that guy is, you guys, Gary Neville, I think, got a case that not many people can argue that he probably could be the best centre-back of all time.
I think
Maldini said it. Maldini, and that man's got no reason to say he's played with some of the best centre-backs in world football. He probably was one of the best centre-backs in world football, arguably the best. He's played with Baresi, he's played with Chiellini.
You got Cannavaro from the Italian back line.
You got Thiago Silva. Don't forget that man, by the way.
And him. And they mentioned him. And Van Dijk is just, he's incredible.
Yeah, but Thiago Silva is amazing. But I think if you have to compare Van Dijk and Silva, Van Dijk, I think he's just a robot.
Oh no, I'm not saying
the
that.
Ultimate
it is what it is.
defender.
But Thiago Silva, I wish he came to this league maybe 5-6 years ago, because he can play. He's a very, very, very good defender.
Incredible, mate. Incredible.
And Van Dijk is so good. And talking about transfers, Flo, we were just talking about this earlier, and we were talking about Pep trying to sign Haaland, and we knew news today.
I think it's done. No,
it's done. But in news that is coming out of Chelsea, because now it's the biggest thing because of the new ownership and all this coming out. The news is that most probably Lukaku is on his way out. And
I see some crazy transfers in Chelsea.
But all of these is all free transfers. So please bear in mind they are not like signing on
big players. Ousmane Dembele, top player.
Yeah, and Ivan Perisic seems done. And today I seen Robert Lewandowski.
I know. I saw that as well. Yeah, I saw that.
Free transfer.
Yeah. I saw that.
It can't be a free though, can he? Because he's still got a year on the deal.
He hasn't signed it.
Done. He didn't sign it, and Bayern Munich came out with a statement saying that he's leaving at the end of the summer on a free.
No, but I thought he was still on a deal for one more year.
Apparently not.
Oh, okay. Oh,
so the thing is, Chelsea has always had a very, very good relationship with Robert Lewandowski because his agent was best friends with Roman Abramovich. But we actually tried to sign him last year, but Bayern wanted too much money for that player, so we didn't do it. So that link didn't really break. So for me, when I look at it, there might actually be a chance of getting Lewandowski because it is on a free.
At the same time, everybody's friend with Chelsea, everybody's friend with Man City, everybody's friend with PSG. They're the only one who got the money, mate.
No, not Chelsea. Forget Chelsea. If it's on a free, I believe if it's on a free, I believe it. If we have to pay for stuff, I don't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the main one is Flo. Who Arsenal need to sign? Yes. In which positions?
And Mr. Twisted has come up with another question. Has Isak and Vlahovic signed for Arsenal yet? Twisted throwing some.
he's been twisted.
But I think Vlahovic, in a way, I think he is a top striker. He's only 19 years old, so
But maybe you dodged a bullet as well. He has.
I think he might have dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I think he's good in a way. I don't want. I had enough of youngsters apart if he's Mbappe or Haaland, because Mbappe is that. Okay,
that's a dream.
Yeah, that is a dream, and that's reality.
Yeah. But in reality, who do you think you need this summer?
No, but there is something in between as well, in between dream and reality that can happen. Okay, in the French media, in the French media, and now this is from this is from France. Mbappe loves Arsenal.
By the way, I'm
He
telling,
loves Liverpool as well, apparently. So
No,
yeah.
no, LeBron James. No, Liverpool is because of LeBron James and nothing
ah,
else.
by the way,
Because LeBron
I'm gonna
James has
put
a
some
massive
context into
influence
what
on
Flo is saying,
Mbappe.
right? Then, because Flo is actually French, so he reads a lot of French media,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's why where he's coming from.
No, no, that's fine. I'll accept that. I just yeah. Okay.
And but it's okay. Who do I want? Who I want to see Arsenal buy? Personally, I don't mind Jesus. Jesus is good.
Yeah,
I think he's good for the
Gabriel. Yeah,
squad.
it's
It's good
actually
for the
pretty good.
squad. Jesus and a Ledowanski, I'd be very happy.
Wow.
Okay.
What about centre backs? What about defensively?
We got William Saliba coming back. So he's
Okay.
just been nominated the best youth French player for the league. And
You're gonna need him, aren't you? Let's be honest.
Oh, for sure. You're
you
gonna
know,
play you're gonna play one or two extra games per season as well. So you're definitely gonna need
no, definitely. And you know
Saliba.
what? He's a prospect. I tell you that because he is a Van Dijk. He is the same type of 6'4", tall, strong, power, speed. He read the game, calm with the ball. He can bring the ball. He can cross the ball. So he got the package. It's just I think like with French players, you guys all know that we got mentality issue. As long if we tune in with the best, if we're not tuned in with the worst. So is how Miguel
Maybe
Arteta
the loan did some good to him as well.
He went to Marseille, massive club, Marseille, the second biggest club in France. So it's massive. It's a big 60,000 stadium, the Velodrome, massive. So yeah, so Ledowanski. We need a tricky midfielder, like skillful. People don't realize that. I still would love Juan Mata in Arsenal.
Plus, one thing I would say something.
He's one of the players that United did not use, and you know what? When he left Chelsea, he was the best player of Chelsea for 2-3 years running.
Yeah,
he was brilliant.
Yeah? He was running that midfield. He was unbelievable. And United did not make use of him, and he's just there for the money now. So,
plus, he might also add some experience to that Arsenal team in.
More than Mata. I like his style. I like a Spanish small Bernardo Silva type. Like this type of Latino.
He might not be able to run as much as Bernardo,
where they tricky with the ball, pass, do nutmegs and do a through pass straight away. Like you need a skillful player. Not just Odegaard. Odegaard is not enough. We need another one. And again, someone to partner. Thomas Partey or Xhaka.
Yeah, you're going to need someone to come into that midfield with a bit more experience. Xhaka is not reliable.
We need a runner. I mean, Tielemans is good. I like Tielemans. I think Yuri Tielemans will be a massive asset because he will synchronize so well with the holding midfielder to the attackers. He's a good.
Let me say.
Part.
We have another question from Twisted. Will world-class players be happy to play under Arteta?
I think they want to. Because of Pep,
I don't know.
I think they want to. Because the feedback that Man City players, when he came to Arsenal, all the Man City players who talked about Arteta, they've all improved. Sterling highly speaks about him because little trick, just one step here will make a difference, and one step there will make a difference. And he got the detail, and everyone, including, David Luiz, Chelsea centre back, former Chelsea centre back, PSG centre back, Brazil centre back. The way he speaks about Arteta, him making a statement that he never seen a coach so detailed about every single move, your posture. So people will learn. And people will learn a lot from Arteta. Now, a world-class player, obviously, he comes with the chips on his shoulder. So, is that only? It's to be proven, Twisted. I think it's to be proven.
The thing is, only time will tell where Arteta would reach. He might be very, very good as an assistant manager. We never know whether he would be a very, very good manager, because we don't know yet. At the end of the day, he's still very young in his career, going towards what he's gonna be doing. But it's gonna be very, very difficult next season, because you're gonna have Pep, you're gonna have Klopp, you're gonna have Tuchel, maybe with a few players under him and some of his players. Then you got Antonio Conte. If he gets the right players, he's gonna be dangerous. Then you got Eric Ten Hag, uh, and
But if you
then
think about it, how many coaches in the world can manage world players? Not
no,
many.
no, that's what I'm trying to say.
It's
Like it's
handful.
a difficult thing to
It's
do.
handful.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do, but when you have managers who have won stuff and proven to be very good, it makes the job a little bit more
Yeah,
easier.
but you got
That's what
that
I mean.
ego. You bring that
Yeah,
ego along with that.
yeah. It makes the job a lot more easier, and plus you got you know, what you call David Moyes down there doing his thing, and so on and so forth. And to compete with all those other managers, Arteta has to really improve this team, and also Arsenal needs to also back him in order to do his thing. Because if by chance Arsenal don't make top four floor, is it a failure?
Massively.
I think so, because I don't want to compare Arsenal to be compared to Tottenham,
No.
and it's in our hand. I mean, it's been in our hands since literally December.
Yeah,
That
that's the problem.
that fourth spot is being in our hand. I don't. You know what? I miss Champions League. I miss the opera song. We want to hear it. I want to have the goosebump. I miss those good goosebump. Europa, yes, good, but 1-2 years.
It's not the same, isn't it?
No, we need Champions League, man. We grew up with it. We need
Yep.
it. We want it back. We want to hear the tune. We want to go to Madrid. We want to go to all this big club. We miss
and
this.
and also, just to also add on to what you were saying, yes, maybe at the start of your season it might not have been your target to finish in top four, but when the season progresses for any teams, the target certainly also does change, isn't it? And
Yeah.
And we
during
have
the season,
achieved. Arsenal have achieved the target already. So
yeah,
go for
they
the
have
next.
achieved, yeah,
Go
and
for
they
the
need to
next.
go for the next, isn't it? The target's changed. Going for top four becomes the priority, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, 100%. There's no, if the possibility, not even the possibility, if the reality of getting top four
Hmm.
becomes apparent, you don't just then go, oh, but it's okay. We only wanted Europa League. It's standards, like Flo's just said. Keep the standards. Right, we're here now. Let's stay here. We're not going to go, we'll go back down. No, here now, stay here. Because the mountain to go back to what Arsenal really want to be, which is challenging for titles, is still on the horizon. They're not at it. They can see it, but it's a big mountain to climb. It's a big enough mountain for Chelsea to climb with all their billions that they've had available to them. It's a big enough with the club, the players that they have at the moment, and the manager they've got at the moment. It's a big enough mountain for us over at Liverpool. That's a big mountain, and we're climbing it every year. And for Arsenal, I grew up, I'm 31. They were the big club. There was them and Manchester United. For anyone who's an Arsenal fan, that is where the standard is. They should never accept top four. They got rid of Wenger because you were only getting top four. You don't bring it back and go, oh, it's okay, top four is now a prize. It's like, great, we're here, fantastic. What do we do next season? We go again. We go further up.
And to add on to what Dan said as well, yes, at the start of the season, maybe realistically, Liverpool were looking at the domestic trophies, but they got the opportunity to be competitive in the domestic trophies, strengthened in January, went for the domestic trophies, saw an opening in the Champions League, now in the Champions League final. So now that becomes a target for them to win the Champions League final. Man City opened a little bit of a door for them for the Premier League. Also,
and the FA Cup.
And the FA Cup, and they are like, okay, now we got to win the FA Cup, we got to win the Carabao Cup, even though they're difficult. Plus, if it's absolutely possible, we'll go for the Premier League as well if there is a slight chance, because the only thing that we can do is win. And if there is an opportunity for us to win the Premier League, why not? You know what I mean?
Liverpool can't be perfect. If they win the next two games, they'll get 93 points.
And
that would
that's all you
win.
can
That
do.
would win the title 24 times out of 27 times.
Yeah,
You know,
and that's it.
you can only do what you can do. You can't win every match. Only one club ever has gone invincible in the
No,
Premier
but
League
my
era.
heart goes
Arsenal.
my heart goes to Mohamed Salah. Two finals. He could not make that final for the FA Cup. I don't know if he's gonna make for the Champions League.
Yeah, I think he'll be back for that one.
I think so as well.
When he walked out quite freely. He was asked a question. He
Yeah.
said, you know, will you be ready? Of course. He will not miss that game. That
He
man's
has
just
to.
ready. He's
And
coming.
for us to end the stream, just gonna ask this final question from Flo. And thank you, Flo, for joining us, even though
Yeah,
you
cheers, Flo.
had a
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
No,
yeah.
anytime, guys. Anytime.
Are Arsenal
A
ready
pleasure.
for Europe?
Yes, we are.
That's the energy.
Yes.
That's what you need. That's what you need. And
Quality.
yeah, so to end our stream, we are going to be streaming tomorrow the FA Cup win by Chelsea women's as well, which is another massive effort from Chelsea Football Club as a club. And we got some streams coming on scheduled for the end of the season, doing some crazy things, some enjoyable things.
Bit of fun, definitely.
Oh yeah, and team ranking the Premier League teams on how they have completed. We have a set criteria on everything. We will explain how we are going to do that more clear cut, much more easier for us to understand on how we are ranking them, and also choosing our Premier League 11 and 5 more versions of it, different versions of it, but with a twist. Not what you generally see, where one of you'll have 5 Liverpool players and 4 City players and 1 Chelsea player in one team. No, that's not how we do things. We do things differently here at Talk Football, and it's definitely gonna be with a twist. Please keep tuning in
Come
with
on,
us.
say it.
And I mean, I'll say it closer to it, because it's gonna be one of the most interesting things, and we want to play it a little bit close to our chest. And I know, Flo, you will love it, and I hope that you
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
join us,
join us. It'll be great.
because it's
I
going to
love it.
need a lot more people and a lot of people on the chat as well, because it's going to be very, very interesting on how we are going to be doing it, because it's absolutely fantastic, that idea on how we are going to do it. So we got everything else ready. We're just waiting for everything. And thank you, Twisted, and I know you'll
Twitter,
always be
appreciate
with
it, mate.
us. Yeah,
Thanks for watching.
and yeah, thanks, Dan, for tuning in. Thanks, Flo, for coming on as well.
Anytime.
And as always, goodbye, God bless, and good night, people.
Catch you later.
Easy. Gents, how's it going?
Hang on. And we're still live.
Oh.